I repeat, that fourth measure is the one measure of wheat that has already been harvested by Yahweh ben Yahweh. That one measure of wheat will become that oven-baked bread that will go forth, that will go through the fire and become refined, as silver is refined and tried as gold is tried. Again, that's one measure of wheat and 3 measures of barley, equaling 4 measures in total. Let me repeat that once again. Some may be a little slow. That fourth measure is that one measure of wheat that has already been harvested by Yahweh ben Yahweh, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, Beth Nun Sophie, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, God, the Son of God. That one measure of wheat will become that oven-baked bread that will go through the fire of the oven and become refined as silver is refined and tried as gold is tried. Again, that's one measure of wheat and 3 measures of barley. That equals 4 measures, 1 in each tray of the 2 balances, the pair of balances. That particular 3 measures of barley is also symbolized as being weighed in the book of Ezekiel by a man of Israel and of Judah who is identified as the Son of Man, who once appeared during his lifetime in the sight of the world, in the public, with short hair and no beard, by using a sharp instrument and razor. This also means that Revelation chapter 6 and verses 5 and 6 is also connected to Ezekiel. That is part of this third sealed that was already weighed in 3 separate trays of balances and will ultimately be destroyed with fire in that same oven. That third part has already been divided to this very day. Now, this is proven and can be found in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 5, and verses 1 through 13 in part, which reads, as we will quote for you, verse 1, and thou, son of man, take thee a sharp knife, take thee a barber's razor, and cause it to pass upon thine head and upon thy beard. Then take thee balances to weigh and divide the hair. Now, right away, some of you may be listening to this and taking this literally, and that's where you made mistakes all of your Bible reading days, reading the Bible literally as if it's a fairy tale or a myth, and it's not. However, as we read on in verse 2, thou shalt burn with fire a third part in the midst of the city, when the days of the siege are fulfilled. And thou shalt take a third part and smite about it with a knife, and a third part thou shalt scatter in the wind, and I will draw out a sword after them. Thou shalt also take thereof a few in number, and bind them in thy skirts. Then take of them again, and cast them into the midst of the fire, and burn them in the fire. For thereof shall a fire come forth unto all the house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, God. This is Jerusalem. I have set it in the midst of the nations and countries that are round about her. And she hath changed my judgments into wickedness more than the nations, and my statutes more than the countries that are round about her. For they have refused my judgments and my statutes. They have not walked in them. Therefore thus saith Yahweh, God, before ye multiplied more than the nations that are round about you, and have not walked in my statutes, neither have kept my judgments, neither have done according to the judgments of the nations that are round about you. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, God, behold, I, Yahweh, even I, Yahweh ben Yahweh, am against thee, and will execute judgments in the midst of thee, in the sight of the nations. And I will do in thee that which I have not done, and whereunto I will not do any more the like, because of thine abominations, all thine abominations. Therefore the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers. And as we pause here again, some of you will take that literally or take it abominably and cause your souls to be destroyed because of your wicked thoughts. But of course, some of you are erudite. I'm sure you know what that means. As we continue, Yahweh says, I will execute judgments in thee, and the whole remnant of thee will I scatter into all the winds. Wherefore, as I live, saith Yahweh, God, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all thy detestable things, and with all thine abominations, therefore will I also diminish thee, neither shall mine eye spare, neither will I have any pity. Why? Because, verse 12, a third part of thee shall die with the pestilence, and with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee. And a third part shall fall by the sword round about thee. And I will scatter a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after thee. Thus shall mine anger be accomplished. In verse 13. And I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be comforted, and they shall know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it in my zeal, when I have accomplished my fury in them. End of quote. Now all you have to do is try and convince yourself that Yahweh is a man that lies and will not do what we have just read for you out of the book of Ezekiel. So some of you who are living in a mythical mind, fantasy, looking for an angel to come down from the trees out of the sky with wings on his back, wearing white, I'll pray for you that you wake up. The passage that we have just read for you confirms, and it involves the whole nation of Israel as well as planet Earth, especially the tribe of Judah. I'm sure many of you have questions. I know I have at least two questions. And that first question that I have is, are you part of the three measures of barley? Or my second question, are ye part of the one measure of wheat? Whatever your answer is to any one of those questions, I pray that ye are one who is called by the name Yahweh. Just as our next testimony will feature the topic, which is titled, quote, by my name, Yahweh, Yahweh. Thank you for spending time on your internet listening to this testimony that we brought to you on YouTube and on Facebook. Remember, Yahweh is God. There is no other. Shalom Aleichem.